First class of the three is the Battle Sorcerer. Basically, think of a sorcerer mixed with a fighter, and this is what you got. It is the base class, and there will be 3 kits for it. Well, in the video that is, just think sorcerer, fighter, and you'll get a pretty good idea of the class. You know, it's kind of a natural talent kind of thing versus, you know, hard study and time spent. You know, like a savant, right? With fighting ability. Next one. This is the Hexblade. Think of like witchcraft meets sorcery. You know, it's like a witch fighter guy, right? It's a pretty decent kit. It's pretty it's somewhat popular. People like playing this one with 3rd edition. There's a lot of guides on it, stuff like that, right? It's basically just like a witch fighter kind of deal with like sorcerer's kind of style of casting. That's that one. This is the Knight of the Weave. Think of like a paladin but uses magic. That's what basically this one's like. But he uses like a sorcerer's kind of organic style of casting, or is it more free flowing kind of yeah, like a natural talent, not like hard studied and like you know, it's almost like a romantic kind of knight almost, right? With a lot of liquid air flow to it, you know, it's the style of it. Next one, this is the Swiftblade. It's basically, think of a person who's addicted to haste. It's basically a sorcerer, battle sorcerer who just loves haste to death. Like, they have a lot of haste, but that's it. You know, or like things really similar to haste. They go haste melee. They're just addicted to haste. You know, they're just like crazy. They're kind of organic. You know, that's their talent. It's like, you know. But like a sorcerer has a narrow focus. These guys have one spell really much. Next guy, this is another base class. This is the Beguiler. It's basically, think of a thief mage put together, and that's what you get. But the base class is kind of specialized, where it's kind of like illusionist thief, kind of like shadow magic, like shadowy sly magic, and like some nerf thief abilities. So it's like 75% thief, 75% illusionist, but with all the stuff that crosses over, it makes it really cool character builds. Okay, first kit of this class. This is the Arcane Duelist. It's basically a it's like a fighter, like almost like a street fighter, but uses elegance and finesse and a bit of charisma, a bit of dexterity. It's not quite as good as a duelist with martial skill, so they have to use arcane ability and power to be equal, to be equivalent. So that's, and they also get some more kind of trickery options in there. So they're like a duelist that uses magic. That's what basically they are. This is the Arcane Trickster. Basically, think of like the bastard mage, just the guy who opens locks, picks people's pockets, ties people's shoes from a distance. You know, makes fun of them. It's like, you know, hides their, you know, makes so that their weapon can't pull out of their sheath and stuff like that. Just a kind of more generalized mage thief kind of deal. It kind of opens up some avenues of versatility. That's what this kit's going for. It's kind of sacrifice specialization. Next one, this is the Spellthief. This is basically like a magic fighting type of dude. He's really good against mages and sorcerers. He steals their magic and uses it himself or herself. Takes their resistances, debuffs theirs. So it's kind of like you know, like resistance drain, a lot of draining and stuff like that. So basically, they're really good against fighting people who use magic, but they kind of lose versus say the people who don't use magic. So they're kind of situational. That's the trade-off. It's yeah, so it's like a thiefy magic kind of dude, you know. This is the Spellsword. This is basically a base class again. This is a traditional mage who has to study, doesn't rely on talent, and it is more common to be a mage because you don't roll the dice to be in nature. You know, it's like you know, it's like a traditional mage meets a fighter. This is a fighter mage. If you think of just a fighter and a mage put together, with you know, 75% fighter, 75% mage put together, that's what you pretty much get. There's you know, some drawbacks, but here's the first kit. This is Abjurant Champion. Basically, someone who really specializes in shield magics and defensive magic. This is like the arcane fighting tank. If you think about it, not you know, like where it could specialize in like offense thought. It's all about defense, all about soaking up the damage, all about those magic resistance, all about the big magic shields they have on them, right? That's what this guy's all about. He's the Abarat Champion. It's basically like aberration for a fighter mage, you know. What was it? The next one is the Arcane Archer. This is the ranged DPS, if you will. Basically, it draws from all the mage, traditional mage schools, or some of them to help out. Not all of them, but ones that really help out. For example, like Conjuration, Enchantment, where it can enchant mundane arrows. It can make arrows out of nothing, basically, right? And just uses that kind of Conjuration enchantment and really just to specialize with bows, right? That's the Arcane Archer, the ranged spec for a fighter mage, you know, of sort. Anyway, here's the next one. This is a Dusk Blade. This is a pretty popular class, somewhat prestige class. But yeah, this is basically all about like close range fighting, like a melee fighter that uses touch spells, like infused with a sword, for example. Like they're all about close range spells. They're not like they lose versatility in range. They have some, but they're mostly all about the close range melee sword fights, and they have versatility in spell. Well, alright, here's the next guy. This is the Raumathari battle mage. Basically, think of like a Middle Eastern kind of battle mage exotic, not like kind of uncommon to have. He uses like this ritual to make his sword basically like a big wand that just like he hits people with these touch spells through his sword. He has more diversity than a Duskblade for spells. Duskblade has kind of like a limited selection of spells. This guy has a whole bunch you can put into the sword, and that's how he rolls basically, right? He's got to study and stuff like that, you know. This is the Runesmith. Basically, dwarves can't be mages, so this guy uses an unorthodox way of cast magic. You can use a full heavy plate mail armor, but he makes runes, and he uses his runes like a one-charge wand, basically, right? And later on, he can carve runes into him, and he becomes like a big magical wand. It's really cool. Anyway, this is my abbreviated video. I hope you like it. Whoop ass.